Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today we are going to cover another one of Mikey's training vlogs because a lot of people seem to enjoy these and they check in every week. We had a bad day benching. Bad day benching. He missed less than his previous max, and even worse, it's 10 pounds less than he did with the axle bar last week. We thought he had a good 5+ pound PR in the tank. He basically told me I had a bad couple of nights sleeping, didn't feel good, totally missed the lift. And he missed it at his normal sticking point, and that was only 335, by the way. We were hoping for a 350 bench today. General fatigue added up, and this is one of the things that happens on occasion. You know, we deal with it. Interestingly enough, he got caught up on sleep that night and came in and hit a deadlift PR the next day. You know, these things happen. And here's the thing that I tell my lifters and things that I tell you guys also. When you miss a lift, leave it on the platform, right? You can analyze the footage. If you don't have video footage to analyze, you need to not worry about it at all. If you don't have a coach to analyze it, you need to just ignore it and move on. Nothing you can do about it. If you didn't video it, though, you have no data to work with. In this case, for my lifters, it's my job to worry about their missed lifts. I tell them to forget about them, leave them on the platform, do not ever think about it again. It is my job to fix what goes wrong. My job to analyze it. It's what you pay me for. So, in this case, it was just fatigue because he got over to his other pressing afterwards and he was fatigued there also. We can attribute it to his poor sleep a couple nights in a row. He's going through a lot of work stress and stuff. It's impacting training. So again, he had to get caught up on sleep, and that is the solution here. That's the solution. And then we'll come back, we'll hit PRs on other lifts, on presses, and we'll come back and we'll get a bench PR. But all things considered, his bench has gone up 50 pounds within a year as an advanced lifter. So honestly, not that big of a deal. It happens. We don't stress it. Besides, we're in a deadlift specialization phase anyway. Now his JM presses, of course, went fine, no problems. All his pulling was good. He's like, well, you know, it's interesting because I was able to do just as good as always on all my pulling. It's just my pressing suffered. You know, and again, this happens. And it also has to do with our psychological attachment to lifts. This is one of the things we see a lot, too. This is one reason on Conjugate we want to max on a wide variety of lifts. We try to remove that psychological attachment to maxing out. But still, what happens every now and then, people who have a hang up on their classic lift, a competition lift, they get too excited. They think about it the night before they do it. And it's a problem. And I wish I had the technology to where my lifters, I had a better file system to where they couldn't open their max effort stuff until the day of. To where they couldn't actually open it and look at it the day before. That way they have no idea what they would max on when they're going in. You can do that when you're coaching in person. Can't really do that the same in long distance. Eventually technology will catch up and I'll find a way to do that. But they can't open the file. That would be nice. But all his pulling went good, and it's the normal stuff we do. Although I'm thinking at this point I might want to start doing more shoulder work for some front delts and stuff for him. Again, just to make sure they're not limiting his benching, but he still seems to miss right off the chest, which we know is going to be a lot of pec, potentially some lat. Technique-wise, he's pretty good. It's just a matter of getting him stronger at the right joint angles, which requires hypertrophy. But the other stuff is our normal lifts, which is, again, pull-ups, pen leg rows, snatch grip high pulls, right? These are mainstays in his training right now. We rotate through this stuff every now and then. You know, eventually we will rotate some of those so that we can, avoid overuse. But he's doing really well on them right now. So I don't see the need to do that. And again, a lot of it's good for his deadlift specialization. And I might change some of it a little bit coming up just to allow him to recover a little more there. We get to the deadlift day, max effort deadlift. This is off of 2-inch blocks. Now granted, again, this is not quite a conventional because it's off 2-inch blocks. Some people are the same, some people are slightly stronger, some people are slightly weaker. Pulled 475. After missing that bench the day before, and it was nice and clean, it was fast. I feel like he could have pulled more than that, to be honest, looking at that footage. I was conservative. That's the heaviest weight Mike's ever held in his hands deadlifting. We know his deadlift is a weak link. Something we say in every vlog. A lot of people are shocked. They're like, this guy's thick. Why he doesn't deadlift well over 500? Nope. Nope. That's his weak link. That's why we're specializing in it now. Then afterwards, what do? Safety squat bar good mornings. Having him continue to do some belt squats and reverse hypers. Okay? Because this is what we need. Right? This is what we need to bring up his deadlifts. Now, the belt squats not so much. It's just to give him extra quad work because we don't do supplemental squatting. This is something I learned more and more observing a lot of my lifters. I've broken my lifters into 2 groups over time on conjugate and have people do supplemental squatting on max effort day. And you know what I find? They don't get any stronger, any faster, but they get fatigued quicker. They get fatigued quicker. I've had lifters get to 500 squats who we don't do any rep work on the squat. We just do maxes and speed work. That's it. And then we do all the hypertrophy work for everything else. They never do 4s or 5s or any of that on squats. Nothing. Get to 500. I've had lifters do it. My lifters don't get there any faster if I have them do extra squatting. We just need some extra quad work and adductor work and glute work. Sometimes some upper back work. We just need to hypertrophy this stuff. Speed squats will build the squat. Right? Speed squats will build it. So this is the stuff that we need to do that. But again, we're putting a heavy focus on deadlift accessories. So that means a lot of pulling for the middle and upper back on the upper day. Takes a higher priority. We do more of that than pressing. So his pulling volume is higher than his pressing volume. Posterior chain takes a little bit of dominance. Right? Takes a dominance here. Now, he has big quads though. And that's all we need for his quads. If you're like, wow, he's got big quads, how do we build them? Speed boxes, max effort boxing, belt squats. That's it. It's all that's necessary. Right? Depending upon the lifter's work capacity and stuff, we can do other things. We can do single leg exercises. But we just do box squatting and supplemental lifts. It builds jack quads. I built my quads up pretty much doing that, most of that. Box squats, supplemental quad work. And it can take the form of single leg exercises. It can take the form of belt squats. And then, of course, afterwards he does reverse hypers, which again, we are progressively loading these up heavier and heavier. Again, we need to build his low back. We need to build his glutes. Need to build his hip extensors. And again, we do this for very, very high reps. At this point, he's doing 25s, which is what you guys see me do. You guys routinely see me do 500 pounds for 25 rep sets on this. Okay, we need to build up his low back because he needs that. And we need to get more and more hamstring work in. So I may take some of his stuff over to being a little more hamstring dominant. We might throw in extra hamstring work. We could do that in the form of Romanian deadlifts. Right? We can do other things. But right now I think he's okay. I might need to take that up a notch. Right now he's okay though because we've increased his speed pull volume. Which we'll get to in a bit when we get to the speed days. But again, reverse hypers. I wish everyone had access to one of these. If people could say, hey, what is one lift or piece of equipment that you wish everyone had access to, it would be this. At this time, I have 7 clients, I believe 7, might be 8, who have access to one of these, either at their gym. I have 2 who have access at their gym. The rest own one. That's how important that is to me, that I advise my clients with home gyms to buy a reverse hyper if it's within their budget. Right? I advise it if they have the space and the budget. It's worth it. It's worth every penny of it. Now, his speed benching went great today. Right? You look at this stuff, it's like, oh, well, we're not seeing any fatigue there. So I'm hoping he's caught back up on the sleep. And I'm hoping that was a one-off and I can come back a couple weeks from now, 2 or 3 weeks from now, and we can get that bench again when he knows he's stronger. He should have been able to get it. Right? We look at all his other supplemental lifts, everything is up. Everything is up. Again, a couple nights of poor sleep, ruined the bench. Same thing, then we do floor presses. People will ask, well, why the floor pressing? He's always responded well to floor presses. It helped bring his chest up a lot. We built a lot of his pecs up because he didn't have pecs when we started. You know, that's something that I've had to deal with in the criticism in the comments below. People saying, oh, it's worthless and pecs are worthless. Like, well, if you want a big bench, they're not worthless. Okay? Doesn't matter what you're training for. These are what my people are training for. But He didn't have big pecs when we started. He also had a sub 300-pound bench. He was all tricep. We did a lot for the first 5 to 6 months, which none of that was on camera. We did a ton of dips, weighted dips, and a ton of floor pressing to build his pecs. And now he's got a big chest, and he's, again, got like a 345 bench, except for this week, which should be 350. But he's got big pecs now. We did that. He did that inside of a year. He didn't have that. The floor press, though, if you look at where he sticks, look at where the floor press is. It takes the bar about an inch below his sticking point, and then he has to drive off the floor. Okay? The floor press is invaluable for a lifter like Mike. It's invaluable for a lifter like Mike, because he needs that. And part of me wants to take him over to more shoulder work, more delt work. But you know what? I almost feel like he'd benefit from us rotating the dips and floor press back in. That put the most onto his bench along with the speed benching. Put the most on there. I'll think about it. I'm tempted to actually take him back to dips and to drop the pause benching, because it did so much for him. So we might do that. Then we again do pull-ups. We do rows, and we do snatch grip high pulls, which I've had conversations with a lot of coaches about. And I had some conversations with Christian Thibodeau about that. And again, people forget that I bring this up. There's a lot of these top coaches out there that I chat with regularly. Because people's reputations and silliness and trolling on the internet doesn't affect their view of me. They see what my lifters do. A lot of them see what a ton of my lifters do because they're on my friends list and stuff. They see what the public doesn't even see. And they see what my guys look like, and they see what they lift. Mike is just one example. He's just one that happens to be easy for me to put out here for you guys, because he sends me a lot of footage and he's cool with it. He doesn't mind it being public. Okay? It's the reason Mike gets hosted. I have 7, 8 other guys who are just as impressive, that you guys would be just as impressed by, who are all jacked, who are all strong. Some who are fatter, so you guys wouldn't be impressed by them. So I'm talking guys who are not. There's some guys who are ripped. I have guys who are lean who lift like this. But these other coaches see it. But, that came up with the snatch grip high pull. He actually included that in an article he wrote the other day. I've quoted me on the snatch grip high pull, because we've had conversations about it in private. Just like, I have with a lot of these other coaches. So, because again, they realize I know what I'm doing. They see what my lifters are doing. They chat with me. We all exchange ideas back and forth. And it's nice to have that big growing circle of coaches that I chat with. It's just nice to have. Good community. And we don't always agree on everything, because we don't have to. But there's going to be a lot of patterns that top coaches are going to agree on. Good coaches are going to agree on. Just good coaches in general, once you have experience. But then we get over to speed squats. At least he's pausing now. He's pausing now. And that's what we want to see. Good and explosive, running a lot of band tension. Overall happy with that. Happy with his knee position. He's doing doubles now on speed pulls because, again, we're doubling the volume. Someone asked that too. Why did you reduce the amount of speed squatting he's doing if you're not changing the waves? Because we added more volume on speed pulls. Right? He's doing doubles now instead of singles. We've doubled the volume. So we're reducing speed squat slightly. Then afterwards, pretty straightforward. We do for him speed squats, speed pulls, and we only really care about at this point bringing up his deadlift for the supplemental work on this day. So safety bar, good mornings, and reverse hypers. Now, those will improve your squat. Of course they have squat carryover. Posterior chain. Posterior chain matters a lot. Upper back matters a lot for the squat. Right? And that's all we need. Some people would again look at this and say, well, shouldn't you have some more quad work? Well, there is quad work on here. We work with the lifter's work capacity. Okay? I do more volume than most of my clients do. Most of you should have figured that out by watching blogs like this, or Antonio's vlog that he puts up on his own channel. Right? I do more volume than my lifters do. He's doing speed squats and speed pulls. That works your quads. That is quad work. Right? It works your quads. Quads will grow from that. I could always throw in some other stuff if I need to. Again, it might be in the form of one-legged exercises. And then we finish off with reverse hypers. Because again, this stuff carries over to his deadlift. Right? This day alone will increase deadlift. Right? If you just did the 4 movements that he does on this day with the volumes I prescribe, I promise you your deadlift will go up. Again, with the bands and everything being part of the programming. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.